dark days, overwhelmed, trapped in a maze. Small business owner, stress had me in a daze. Every problem piled up, couldn't catch a break. Thought I couldn't make it, my dreams were at stake. But then I found a group that changed my whole perspective. Our success group of a community so effective. We all chasing that dream, sharing struggles and fears. They understood my journey, wiped away my tears. Together we broke through, we rise above. No more feeling stuck, we're fueled by love. Our small business is shining, reaching new heights. With the support of our success group, we're taking flight. The power is strong, the vision so clear. Building our dreams with no more fear. Together we're resilient, unstoppable force. With our success group.
Let's talk some business.
There we go. We're coming to you from a hotel room. We're going to be nice and cozy here. Hello, goal getters. Welcome to Small Business Saturdays. Today we are celebrating you guys, all of the business owners out there, and let's bring a little life to this party. It's we're just kind of nice and close here, and so I guess take a moment here real quick. Let's get some people in here. We've had a busy morning, and so sorry we're coming in a couple minutes late. We just got back from trying to get our car fixed so we can get back to Missouri here, but you stay over this way. Don't quit leaning out there, Kylene. But
come closer to you.
Yeah, going to come closer.
All right.
But anyhow, we want to get some more folks in here, so take a moment and share this with your network and get it out there, and then let us know where you are tuning in from, and add your comments there. We'll get a wall of comments going over next to Kylene, even though she keeps leaning out. So
I feel like I keep going away from you. I got to stay in. Well, I'm Kylene. I'm excited to be here with Aaron today. This is the real Small Business Saturday, so this is a show just for you small business owners. We want to celebrate you and just share and support whatever we can today and bring some excitement to what we're doing with our small businesses. So whether you're tuning in live or catching the replay, you're all part of this community, and that's all about growth, connection, and making a difference.
Awesome. So let's see what we got going on in the chat here. Chuck says, good afternoon. I hope everyone had a good Thanksgiving. Earlier, Digital Sparkle said, this is such an inspiring initiative, Aaron and Kylene. Happy to connect and explore future collaborations. Love it. Cool. And Sandy, hello. Thank you so much for being here. So let's start off. Let's get a wall of gratitude going. We got the comments over there on the I guess that'd be the right side of Kylene there, if I'm doing this correctly. The right side of Kylene. Where are you tuning in from? What are you celebrating in your business today? Type in the comments. And what are you grateful for on this Small Business Saturday? And then, Kylene, as the kids say, smash that like button.
Oh boy.
Hit subscribe. Share with your fellow business owners. I know I've mentioned that, but let's keep that going. Hello, Jerry. Thanks for tuning in. What is going on? There we go. Better. All right. Well, what's next, Kylene?
Yeah, and just, as we celebrate you, we want to make sure you're not just working harder, you're working smarter, staying true to what's most important to you. So grab your notebook, just stay engaged with us, and just remember, we want to hear you throughout what we're sharing because we all learn from each other. So share your questions with us, insights, your aha moments, all of that. Share it with us, and we're going to grow together.
Love it. Love it. All right. Well, we got a lot of things that we want to cover in celebration of the small businesses out there. For Kylene, I've always called this big Small Business Saturday, right?
Yeah.
The whole point of starting this particular podcast and live video program was to make every Saturday a Saturday that we highlighted small businesses. We're going to talk about why we should highlight small businesses, but this is the official big day. So if you're out there, in fact, we've got in our Entrepreneur Success Hub in the Facebook group over there, we had a place where if you guys wanted to post your Black Friday sales, heck, I'll even go and add to it here, whatever you've posted. And so one of the best ways to get more organic reach, meaning without having to pay for reach on social media, is to get your fellow friends, community to comment on it and to share it and whatnot. So I put a post in there to say, hey, just share the link to something you'd like to get a little more reach on, a little more love on. And so if you guys want to go in there and share a link to anything that you've posted that you'd love to have more people see, get in there, and then we can all go click on it and share with each other. So, but as we get into this and we're celebrating small business owners, I would also encourage you guys to go ahead and drop some links in here right now. Let's highlight you guys. What's your business? What are the services you provide? Anything you're offering up this holiday season? Let's do that and get that in there, and we can highlight that on this program here. So we're having a hard time trying to figure out the view here. Maybe we're too close. Is that it?
Oh, maybe.
Maybe. Okay.
That's better.
That's better. Okay. So, that may have been a fun sound on moving the microphone there. So as you guys are doing that, I know there's a little bit of a delay, but let us know what your business is. Put your link to your website in here, your social media channels. If you got any specials or promotions going on this Small Business Saturday, let's get that in there, and we'll get that on the wall of gratitude there. So far, you guys are a quiet bunch, so let's improve that. We appreciate you guys tuning in and saying hello, but we want to hear a little bit more than that from you guys. And you want to announce, we want to do a little drawing that we'll actually draw next week, but it'll be based on this show. So you want to announce what that is?
All right, so this is a big one. It's the Goal Getter Workshop. So everyone who comments is entered on, live or the replay on this show. We're going to enter the names for a drawing on December 5th of 2024.
That's when it closes.
Oh, that's when it closes. Oh, so you have to watch the replay by then. Okay. And comment. And then we're going to hold the drawing on the next Small Business Saturday, December 6th. For the winner of that paid Goal Getter Workshop, and that's really going to set you up for success here.
Yeah. So early January, our success group will be hosting. We'll have two 45-minute webinars, just free webinars that'll kind of give you the information, and then we will have a workshop, about a 2-3 hour workshop, where we will go through and we will pick out your number one goal. We will make sure that your number one goal is aligned with you and your business, and so that way you can look back at the end of 2025 and say, yes, this was a successful year, and then we'll implement an action plan, and we're going to do that together in the workshop. So we're going to give you all the information to do that if you want to do that on your own, but in the workshop, that'll be a paid opportunity, and so we're going to give away one of those opportunities, one of those seats to the workshop, and that's a $97 value. So I think it's $97. I got to go back and look at my notes here. I've been running numbers, so we got to figure out pricing for next year. I know we're going to have to raise the price of Masters of Success to anybody new coming in next year. So we'll talk a little bit more about that later. But so that paid opportunity. So anyhow, anybody who comments. So again, want to make sure, maybe we just aren't seeing them on here. We've had that in the past, so I'll go take a look at that while we're doing that.
There we go. Got a new comment.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm interested but not able to attend. Wanted to know, have a wonderful weekend. Okay. Julie, not able to attend what?
Here.
Here today? Oh, okay. So you're just commenting. Well, there you go. You're entered, Julie. So make sure you watch the replay and you can comment on there. So we've got Chuck entered, we got Sandy entered, we got Jerry entered, and Digital Sparkles entered as well. So yeah, definitely jump in there. But again, tell us, you guys, about your business. We want to highlight you. So again, quiet bunch here. So let's get some comments there. Tell us, give us your lead. Tell us about your business. Tell us what offers you've got. The more you talk about it, the better off you're going to be. We don't want to make it super secret, right?
Yeah, I've proven that super secret doesn't work.
Yeah, so, same thing. Kylene, what's your business?
Yeah, so I do Rise, Shine, Smile, and I share yoga virtually and in person. as well as sharing the Breaking Barriers with Aaron. We have an online workshop that you can do at your own pace. So all about empowering people using positive energy for transformation. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're feeling like life's just kind of happening to you, not for you, this is a way to reset and use some of these tools, especially yoga can get us in that right headspace. So
yeah. So if you're interested in that, go over to riseshinesmile.com and check it out. But again, we want to highlight you guys. Give us your website address. Tell us what your business is, and what's exciting, what's happening right now in your business that's exciting. There's no limit to you. There's no wrong comment, so to speak. So make sure to check that out. But the other part that we wanted to hit here is just talking about why we should celebrate and support each other. Right? We know the sacrifices. We're small business owners as well. We know the sacrifices. We also know about the rewards that come from that, right? The fulfillment of being able to do it on your terms. And so we just want to, make sure that you guys are acknowledged for all of the hard work, for your passion, for your creativity, and really just know that everybody that engages, everybody that is participating, right? We love everybody that just wants to hang out, and that's cool. But the ones that are participating, you guys are the ones that are really inspiring. Because every time you participate, it encourages somebody else to participate. And the more participation we have as a community, the better off we're going to be, right? A rising tide does truly lift all boats, and we believe that. And that's what keeps this community thriving is you guys. So, that was a big thing that I wanted to make sure that we shared here is just recognizing you guys and kind of, high five, that kind of thing. So what else do you think about recognizing all the business owners out there, Kylene?
Well, small businesses make up 99% of all the businesses in the U.S., which I was shocked that it was that high. But that's 99%. So, but yet we only hear about the top 1%, like Amazon and Walmart and chains and the big, huge online giants that are out there. But 99% of the businesses out there are you guys. That's who we are, and that's who we want to support. And so it's really important to take the time to support each other, share, learn, grow, all of that as much as we can.
And that top 1%, they get all the airtime because they participate, because they're loud, because they post, because and I know they have the resources to do that we might not have. But that doesn't mean that we can't do the same thing. It just requires us to actually participate, right? It requires us to comment where we can and to make the sacrifice to, make that extra post and, not worry about, am I posting too much? Right? You're not going to get there, especially if you're trying to celebrate your gifts and share your gifts with the world. And, so that's a pretty interesting stat and the other thing that's interesting is small businesses, and small businesses is kind of a little bit interesting when it comes to how they're in the United States. It's any company that has 500 or less employees. I think that's 500 or less employees, and which we're probably talking about the smaller businesses, but in general, small businesses make up over 50% of the gross domestic product here in the United States. Right, and that's trillions of dollars that we're pumping back into the economy. Yet, here's the other interesting part, though. Okay, so you say 50%. Well, the other 50% is by the big giants, right? But they're only creating 45% of the new jobs. So all the new jobs, all of the new opportunities out there are coming from that 99% of the businesses, right? And so again, we're celebrating, we're talking more, we're being proud of what we're doing and being, let's pat ourselves on the back a little bit, right? And here's the other stat that I found that was really just blew me away. And I guess it didn't blow me away like I was surprised. I just didn't realize how big it was. But the statistics showed that small businesses donate 250% more than larger businesses to local nonprofits and community causes, right? Like we knew that the smaller businesses are the ones that are really taking care of the communities, but 250% more. Right? That's insane, right? Like that's so good. 75% on average of small businesses contribute 6% of their profits annually. Right? Like that's amazing. So, yeah, for sure. Chandler says, "Where? I need these people." That's part of it, right? That's why we're celebrating small businesses, because we don't know where they are, because they are quiet, because they are, we don't want to do too much. We don't want to, pat ourselves on the back too much. Well, today is that day that we are supposed to, and honestly, every Saturday we should, and every day that ends in Y we should. But the reality is we need to be more vocal, because that's how we're going to make a difference. That's how we're going to make an impact, right? When a place like Chandler's, the grace period is going, hey, I want to connect with these small businesses, but I just don't know where they are, right? That just means we got to be louder as businesses, because that's an opportunity. So, you want to share the next stat that we met?
80% of small businesses have a clearly defined mission that includes giving back to their local communities. So, not only are they doing it, but it's part of their mission. That's why they wanted to be in business. And I think for that, it just means how important it is what we're doing, and why we need to support each other.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And when you think about that, right, like everybody that I've worked with through our success group, there's always at least a thread of that giving back to their local communities, right? It might be the families. Everything okay over there?
Yep, I just dropped.
Okay. Okay. It is really amazing, and honestly, it's why it's so important to us, right? It is about giving back, and we're kind of, I wouldn't say nomads. We love where we live and stuff like that, but we're not connected to the local community per se. I do so much traveling with speaking and things like that. Most of the people that I interact with are all over the Midwest here, and so it's really important for us, for our success group here, that we serve each other, because we know it's going to have a ripple effect. Right? Like, as much as we can give back here at our success group, we know that that's going to have a ripple effect. And here's the cool part about a ripple effect: go to like a little puddle, right? Drop a rock in it, watch the ripples go out, but then when they hit the out, they come back in, right? Like, as long as the energy is strong enough, it will keep going, and that ripple effect just keeps going. And so, I guess, Kylene, why is it so important to you that, because we spend a lot of effort, and we show up here on Small Business Saturday, our numbers are not huge, and yet we keep doing it every week, right? Now, we want to keep asking you guys. We hope that the ripple effect happens, but tell us why it's so important to you, Kylene.
Well, it's so important is because of our mission, and we want to empower people to find their success in their life and live to their potential. So if we have these gifts that we were given, we want to share them with people. And while, like I look at my yoga business, I changed it to a donation base because I didn't want to leave anyone out. I wanted everyone to enjoy the benefits of it. And then sometimes when they can contribute, they contribute, right? And it just kind of works. Now, that business model for me works. I know that business model for everyone won't work, but we can still give our time. We can give some of our gifts to people just because it's important to support our local community, and local even on here, our community here.
Sure.
So that's why I think it's important that we're here every day.
Absolutely.
We have these gifts. We have to share them.
Absolutely. All right. So Chandler says support in more than just money too. Let me clarify that. It's not just about money. Absolutely. And that is a big thing. I appreciate you sharing that, Chandler. I know sometimes we go, man, I just can't afford it right now. I'd love to help more. But you know what? You can afford it in different ways, right? So absolutely, I love that. And then Sandy, I think this is really cool. So check out MasonicBeehive.com. You get a free shirt with any order today, and she's going to be utilizing some of her older inventory to clear that out. So it's a win-win. So I'm sure you probably have a Mason in your family, by the way. Most people do, and they just don't realize it. Go get them a Christmas gift right now. Masonic Beehive. right? Or maybe you want to support your local Masons, right? And you might even be able to find some other cool stuff on there. So MasonicBeehive.com, check that out, you guys, and share that too. If you're going and looking, pull up Sandy's Facebook page or LinkedIn page or whatever, wherever you find Sandy out there at MasonicBeehive.com, and share that with your community of people, because like I said, there is a Mason somewhere in your community that could use something that Sandy has. So there you go. Anybody else want to share theirs? We will highlight that as well and come up with some ways that we can do that. But again, we just appreciate, Chandler says we appreciate it, and we appreciate you. Everybody that's commented so far, everybody that's watching the replay that comments, you will be entered into the drawing for that paid-for seat. So again, it's a $100 to $150 value here, the Goal Getter Workshop. That'll be coming up in early January. I still got to get the dates kind of ironed out to make sure that we're not too close to New Year, but I don't want to get too far into 2025 either, because the idea is, how do we set ourselves up to look back at the end of 2025 and say, yes, that was a good year, right? That's kind of what we're going for there. So, all right. Well, that's the first part of it here, you guys. The second part that we wanted to talk about, and again, this is the show today is all about celebrating you guys, and so we said, how can we do that? What can we give? What can we help with? And I get asked a lot about pricing. Pricing is definitely one of the big things that people struggle with. Kylene knows this. You guys, anybody that's heard me know that I am deeply passionate about this idea of perceived value. I believe that as business owners, we struggle charging what we're worth. I mean, I do it too. So I know for a fact that this is something that happens because I've heard from other people. It happens to me. And so we have to do some things to make sure that we are increasing our perceived value. And the other thing I understand is that we don't all have the huge resources, right? We talked about the 1% out there and why they get all the airtime, right? Like, yeah, I don't have an unlimited budget to go do a bunch of Facebook ads. And this time of year, if you're not spending a bunch of money on Facebook ads, you're kind of almost throwing money away because of the fact that there's so many people spending money on Facebook ads right now that you're not going to get as much reach as to other less busy times. It's just the way it is. It's supply and demand. And right now there's a lot of demand, so the price to play is high, right? Like, I don't know anybody that I've worked with yet that has a Super Bowl commercial. Right?
Not
yet. That's coming up. So one of the best things we can do, I believe, as a community and from our success group and my experience, and Kylene has worked through these things with me so much, that we need to support each other to charge what we're worth and to really teach each other about perceived value. And Kylene, what's the number one way people can increase their perceived value?
This is huge. It's really, truly, deeply understanding why your customers buy from you. What makes them choose you over someone else? Because we all know there's always someone else doing something similar to what you're doing. Mm-hmm. So understanding why they are buying from you is truly one of the most powerful ways to increase that value.
Yeah. And when we talk about why, right, it's not just people, I've got good customer service. Yeah. Okay, that's minimum, right? That's the minimum entry fee, so to speak, and to be a business owner is to have good customer service. Why? Really why? Like, and people are like, well, how do I find out? Kylene, how do you find out?
You have to ask them. You have to actually be intentional with an ask to them.
Yeah.
Not a general ask, how was your service, or, something like that.
Fill out this form, do the, like those things are great. Like you get some information, but the people that are your number one customers, and we'll talk more about this in a little bit, but it's so important to really, truly, deeply understand why your customers buy from you. So, and I guess the other part of this, Kylene, is that we have to stop making price the lowest common denominator. For example, I was just poking around just yesterday, actually, through Facebook and kind of going on some groups that aren't the Entrepreneur Success Hub. I'm in several groups out there, and I'm a little bit quiet on those because, like, people don't always get it, and when I pipe in, they kind of don't want to hear the truth, so it's kind of pointless, right? But they're just littered with people griping about pricing, right? And, like, I get it. You know, it's frustrating to lose an order based on price, but the problem is not the other guy undercutting you, right? And so, in fact, I even pulled out some example comments to give you guys, and so I'm going to read them here. We kind of got them right here. Here was a comment. Chandler says they can't handle the truth. That's right. So here's the first quote that I pulled out: "Is the market around me is saturated. They're literally selling stuff at cost. It's killing me to try to make money off of items." That was one comment. Another comment on that very same thread was competing against other businesses that have automatic presses. They can afford to outbid those of us with manual presses, oftentimes bidding $2 to $4 less per item. And like I said, I don't get in there and participate as much because I've done it before and people don't want to hear the truth, right? It's not the saturated market that's killing you, right? It's not the lack of automatic press that's killing you or that's causing that other person to win the business. Because, you know, saturated market, for example, right? The market wouldn't be saturated if there was not money to be made there. So that's not it. It becomes saturated because people see a lot of opportunity, and if you've created that opportunity, it's your responsibility to keep control of your customers and not let them go elsewhere and compete on price, right? And it's certainly not the lack of an automatic press. Otherwise, no one would ever buy a manual screen printing press. So the truth of the matter is the potential customer didn't see the value in choosing you. Therefore, they went with the lower price. I know that sucks. I hate saying that. Yeah. It really makes me feel bad because I know I'm making somebody else feel bad. But that is the truth. Every time somebody's not chosen me, right? Like I had a recent experience where somebody chose somebody else, right? And I don't know if it was price or not. I just know they didn't choose me, right? And so I could have been mad and, oh, there's just too many coaches out there. Right, I had those feelings. I had those conversations with you. But the reality was they didn't choose me because they didn't see the value in what I was doing. And therefore, it was up to me to make sure that I was clear about the value, right? And so maybe I give away too much stuff for free. Okay, I'll slow down, right? And not in this community, but in that scenario, I do give a lot to that group of people that I got turned down in. So, okay, time to change things up maybe. I don't know, right? And so those hard truths are really, really difficult. Now, here's the other, there we go. Thank you, Chuck. I appreciate you backing me up here. He says, yes, that is the truth 100%, right? Yeah. And Chandler says, I support all who have a relationship and honestly care about their business and community. Absolutely, right? And so that's, and I know that, right? That's why I love working with Chandler. That's why I would do anything for Chandler, right? And so it is that exchange of value. Now, the other hard truth is these same folks that are complaining about someone choosing a lower price, me included, right? We also choose a lower price, right? So, for example, making an investment in themselves to get support and accountability, they need to make their business a success. It's out of their price range. Okay. Yet I know they probably got a Netflix account. They're probably throwing $20 to $50 away on other subscriptions, or maybe they even go out and buy another piece of equipment that may or may not make them money. And I'm speaking to myself here again. We've got dusty stuff in our basement, right, that probably could have been used elsewhere. But you know what? I can't change that now. But what we can do is understand that we've got to invest, right? And so I saw that in myself. And so I said, you know what? I can't afford getting a coach right now, but I have to. And so I did. And we're figuring it out. It's not easy, but we're figuring it out, right? So just think about that side of it, right? And I guess the other part of this, Kylene, is if you're not willing to invest in your business, why should customers make the same investment in you?
That's
right?
huge. Your
job is to show the value you bring, charge the value you're worth, and let go of the need to take every job no matter the price. And I know that's a hard thing to do. I spent the first 3 years of our success group bending my values and chasing those get-rich-quick schemes, so to speak. And they weren't schemes. We weren't trying to take anybody's money, per se. But there was like, oh, well, they won't pay for that. But, if I only charge $20, maybe somebody's willing to do that. And we had some people that were willing to do that. I was like, man, how do we give them enough value, but yet how do we make it worth our time, right? And so, and I don't want to get too far away from the comments. This is great. Chuck says those with auto presses have expenses of something more too, right? Absolutely. And right, it's the accountability needed from yourself to make the success you are looking for. Absolutely. And hello, Barb. Thanks for tuning in. Right. So, I spent those first 3 years of our success group, and honestly, I almost killed it. I almost killed our success group, and I'm 2 years into the rebuilding process, and it's not easy, right? Because I bent those values, and but I had to stop, right? I stopped the membership programs, and I said, where is the value that we provide, and how do we get people to see that? And so right now we're solely focused on the Masters of Success, the Mastermind program, because that's where we've been able to make the biggest difference. Yep. And so we're looking for people ready to take action. And everybody else, I love you. I've got to focus on the people willing to take action. All right. So I guess, Kylene, let's start figuring out how to flip the script here. Right. And again, I know I'm sharing what I'm considering some hard truths, and I appreciate that I've got such a wonderful group of people here that are backing me up. Yeah. And if you don't feel this way, that's okay. I'm not saying everything I'm saying is gospel, right? I'm not trying to preach up here. What I'm saying is this is what I've learned, and this is what we've seen. And so as I mentioned, I used to try to post in those groups and try to change people's minds and do all that stuff. But I've stopped, right? I stopped posting in the groups where it's about the complaining that's going to happen, right? And I understand the need to get there, right? Like I understand the need to commiserate, right? And I know I don't always understand it enough, right? But because I'm so solution oriented that I can't wait to get to the solution. But if it's a group where no one's really showing up with a solution, right? Because here's the deal. There's a strategy that the group moderators are going by. They want to stir the pot just to get engagement. And then they're going to get you to turn over your $20 a month to their Patreon or whatever it looks like, right? And hope you don't notice it on your statement. Right? But if you're not seeing solutions showing up in the group, probably not the place for you. And yes, I am biased because I love our Facebook group. And we are happy to talk about all the challenges, even complain a little bit, and commiserate together. Totally get it. But I promise I will always do my best to make sure we look for solutions as soon as possible. Right? That's who I am, so it just is going to be that way. But, and our group's not the only one where this happens, but I do know that it takes an uncommon mindset. So you're probably not going to see solution-oriented folks in big, huge 25,000, whatever. It's going to be just more complaining, more copyright stolen stuff, and very little engagement, right? And so, Chandler says, yeah, I'm tired of the complaining. I'm ready to be the solution, right? And it's not easy. No one's saying it's easy, right? I'm willing, but you both know I'm the humorist. Absolutely, we gotta. I love the humor, Chandler. That's another reason why we get along so well. So, okay. So I guess I've been on my soapbox here, Kylene. Anything else to add to that before you get us to the next thing, to how will we change perceived value? I know I got kind of off track there.
Well, I think just kind of summarize what you just said is just to really make sure that you have that place where you can go and express a concern that you might have, right? But if you're staying in that negative headspace, it's important to be aware of that so you can be surrounding yourself with people with more solutions, more positive outlook on things instead of just one-upping.
Yeah, absolutely. I have it worse than you.
Yeah.
And I understand that. But, yeah, again, if you lost business, if your market's saturated, it requires creative solutions, thinking differently, being willing to be the solution, as Chandler said, right? Yeah. And so when you're ready for those solutions, then there are people out there you're looking at two of them. You've got people in the comments over here. So get there, right? So that's the first thing, is you got to change your mindset first. The second thing that we need to do to work on our perceived value, and we kind of already brought this up, but you got to get really close with your ideal customers. And if you don't know who your ideal customer is, this is going to be challenging, right? It's not everybody with money in their wallet. People are like, oh, I don't want to have a niche. I serve all these different markets.
Yeah.
Okay, but you can't serve all those different markets very well all at the same time. So which market are you focused on, and who are they, and what are their needs? And get really good at that first. But you have to know their specific needs, right? And so I've interviewed potential customers. Kylene's interviewed our existing Masters of Success members. And it's been a lot of trying to really understand their needs. And you guys need to do the same thing with your customers. You need to deeply understand why they buy from you. Then, once you understand that, then you can start promoting, marketing, offering products based on the needs that you feel, not on the price that you charge, right? So you've got to make price the last part of your conversation. But once you understand the needs, or you think you understand the needs, now comes, it doesn't just happen overnight. There's not a switch that's going to happen. You have to then be very clear, sharing that message over and over and over and over and over and over and over, right? Is that enough times?
One more.
One more and over, right? Yeah. So, Kylene, it's really just about making price the last part of the conversation. How do you do that?
Yeah, it's building the relationship, really. It's getting connected with those people that you enjoy doing business with, who you feel like your gifts at whatever service you are offering is making a difference for them. And then when you make that connection with them genuinely, then you can offer your service to them if they're ready for it. You know, they trust you already. So price is kind of the last part of the decision making there. Absolutely.
So Sandy's comment here says, my niche clients serve me well, but I still serve other customers. And that's so key, Sandy, is what we're saying is really get close and understand who your niche client is, and then that's what your outbound message is. But that doesn't mean that you're not going to serve other customers. It's just, what are you attracting, right? And when you start attracting that, then you're going to start attracting other things around that. But what you'll find is that maybe it's other customers, maybe it's even other niche market areas, but there's a similarity to them all, and they showed up because of your clarity on serving your niche client, right? And so, Jerry, you're welcome. Thank you as well for your friendship and for being such an amazing guy. Barb says, create positive solutions. I shy away from continuously negative people. My glass is half full rather than half empty. Yeah. Absolutely. Boom. Yeah. High five, Barb. I love it. Yeah. Well, let me give people an example here, Kylene, like where we get down to really understanding somebody's needs. So I worked with an MOS member one time, and they thought that their customers' needs was this kind of, they wanted a wide selection, right? They wanted to have all these different options. And so they basically put a catalog in front of them. Right, and so anybody that is in the decorating space knows that you can go to, different distributors and get their product catalog. And here's 1,000 items, Kylene. Best of luck, right? and that works for some people. But we said, you know what, something's not working here, and therefore let's really truly make sure that is the case. And so we interviewed their customers, and looked at what they were saying. And I was able to see a pattern that said that they actually wanted simplification. They were looking for, they wanted the options because they wanted the peace of mind that they were getting the right thing, but they didn't actually want to wade through all of it. They just wanted the simple, but they wanted to know that they were getting the best available product. And so this MOS member, they were the expert in their space, and so they changed from here's a catalog to here are 3 options for your needs: good, better, best. Pick one, right? And when they did that, the price became the last part of the conversation. The customer said, oh, I want best. And they said, okay, here you go. Great, here's best. Here's the quote. And the people will be like, great, when can you have it? Right? And so really truly understanding their needs is crucial. So any thoughts on that, Kylene?
Yeah, I mean, if you give someone decision fatigue, if you give them that many options, whatever it is that you're offering, they're going to not be able to make that decision, and then they're going to go to that other person who can give them a solution right then and there. So by doing that model, I mean, it's clear. It simplified it for them. So really, that's their ideal customer. That's what they wanted. They wanted to save on their time, that headspace to make that decision, and they met that. And then guess what? They have more business as a result.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Chandler says, at the studios, mine has been people traveling, so now I'm looking for out-of-town groups and businesses who have traveling employees. Cool. Love that. One thing I'll say here, Chandler, just to add devil's advocate to this, to what you're doing there, is really truly understand what the needs are and what the pattern is, and then see if you can kind of repeat that, right? Yes, you might be looking for out-of-town groups, but what makes a studio, somebody that wants a space there at 80/20, what makes them unique, right? And make sure that your message is clear and it's not just bouncing from one thing to the next.
Mm-hmm.
All right, does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Okay. A couple more things for increasing your perceived value, and then we'll kind of start wrapping up here with the wellness aspect of this. The other thing that I think we need to look at as far as business owners is we need to do what I call sweat the small stuff. And I know Kylene doesn't always like when I tell her this, but there are studies out there. In fact, this one was by CMU. They did a study, and this was an older study, but the data is still pertinent. It was about DVD subscriptions, and they were able to repeatedly show a 20% increase in sales when the message changed from a $5 fee to a small $5 fee. So just adding the word small in there allowed them to increase their sales by 20%. Now, I'm not saying you go add small to everything, because your ideal customers might not want the cheapest thing out there.
Yep.
Right? But the devil's in the details. And this is why feedback is so important. We need to, and this is why I kind of mentioned to Chandler about being careful of popping around a little bit, because when you kind of keep trying different things, you might not have enough information to understand what's working, right? So we need to be able to look for that feedback, and it's important to then test and track, right? So one thing that you could do is go look at your marketing material. If you're trying to sell a valuable product, right, something that people see more value than and again, if you're competing on price, if the pricing thing is something that's been a challenge for you, then you either need to lower your prices, which you don't want to do, or you need to figure out how to sell it for more perceived value. And so what I would say is go look for anywhere that you have the word just. Anytime we use just in any of our conversations, I know I use it a ton, and so I've been trying to be more intentional about it. But just is a word that we use to take the onus off of ourselves, and it belittles everything after it. All right, so it's just a t-shirt. Oh, it's just a studio, right? It's just an office space. And that's an extreme example of it, but look in your marketing material. Look at your posts on social media and things like that. Look where you've used the word just, and do that exact same post again, use that exact same marketing material again, and remove that word just and see what happens. All right, so there's a ton of tips that we could share here, Kylene, but those two were the big ones, getting really close to your customers, investing in yourself, being willing to be the example to your customers first, but then getting really clear about what your ideal customers' needs are, and then finally sweating the small stuff were some things that we wanted to share today.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah.
I know I use just a lot in the things that I say, so it's important just to be aware of that language.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that here in a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. Barb says, I agree, too many options and customers don't make decisions or change their minds too much, right? And that can become a challenge too, yeah. It's the fact that they can relax and wear what they want mostly. It's too stuffy, or what a lot of people have said. I will keep in mind, though. Thank you. Absolutely. And so see right there, Chandler, you're awesome, you're amazing, and you're looking for that pattern, right? It's like, yeah, I know 80/20 is not a stuffy place, and you lead by example, and people know that it's just comfortable, it's home, it's where people want to gather, right? And so that doesn't mean that, yeah, you should go. Okay, let's find some out of town, right? What groups would be more interested in being relaxed, right? So you're probably not going to go get a bunch of accountants, but what group might, maybe construction workers or something along those lines. So Chandler says, oh, that's my worst word in my vocabulary, so bad. Pricing can be a challenge. A customer may not buy a $15 item, but they will buy at a price of $14.99. Absolutely, right? So there is a lot of trial and error that goes into those things, and there is psychology that goes into that we can learn, but we have to understand, because no matter how well you know the psychology of it, Kylene, the answers are not for everybody, right? Like, oh, I should just do $14.99 on everything. Is that true? I don't know, right? Your business is going to be unique. So anytime somebody shares something with you that is like, you should do it this way, when they don't know anything about your business, you might want to question that a little bit.
Yep.
All right. So one last thing here, Kylene, that I wanted to share before we get to the wellness side of things is, again, this is Small Business Saturday. We're celebrating you guys. We want to be able to give. If you'll email us, you just go to success@oursuccessgroup.com, and I'll put it up on screen here, maybe if I can find it. There we go. If you'll email us, we will email you back a white paper that I wrote that's got 20 innovative strategies to increase your perceived value. So just some different ideas. Like I said, we just scratched a few here today. So when I wrote it, I made it as 20 innovative strategies, and then I came up with a 21st, so it's actually 21, but it was just more fun to leave it as 20.
It's a bonus.
Yeah, bonus. So success@oursuccessgroup.com, send us an email, and we will email you back the white paper with 20 innovative strategies to increase your perceived value. So, Kylene, let's get into wellness here. We're trying to jam as much as we can into a short amount of time here today, so can we keep rolling?
Yep, we got it.
Okay, so what's the wellness side that you want to talk about here?
So I just wanted to talk about time management a little bit during the holiday season, and we all know how when you're busier, right, the stories that we're telling ourselves can change, and it's really being aware of what our thoughts are, and some things that we can change, because when we look at wellness, we're looking at all of us. It's not just like our physical health. It's looking at all the different areas of our life and how we can really be intentional with how we're spending our time and how we're showing up for ourselves in our business, really.
Yeah.
So some of the stories that I have been saying to myself recently is, I'm tired, I can't do this, I'll never catch up, I'm the only one that can do this. I don't know if you guys have anything that you're telling yourself when things get a little bit busy or you get a little bit stressed. And these are some things that recently have been showing up for me as I'm getting busier and trying to manage my day job on top of building the businesses. These are the things that show up, but I do know that there's tools and there's ways for us to really change this narrative that we have within ourselves that can be so empowering.
Yep. Well, before you get into these solutions, I appreciate you going for solutions.
Yeah.
I just really appreciate if you could give people kind of a real example, and just I want them to know that you're human and that we're human.
I am human. Yes.
Right, and I know you kind of said, oh yeah, I'll never catch up. I'm tired. I can't do this. But but be real. What's give us an example.
All right. So I have recently, one of the things that has shown up is there's been a few things, so which one am I going to go with? So social media scheduling. I always make it like this big thing to schedule social media, but once I actually get into it and use the tools that we share in here, right, it's not that big of a deal, but I let it, when I get overwhelmed, I tend to let these things build, and then I create these stories in my head. And so really being aware of those thoughts that I'm having and surrounding myself with the people that are going to call me out, right? I can be there and support other people, but like you said, I'm human too, and I have these struggles, and so that's why it's important to have Aaron around, all of you around, my MOS members around, to keep moving me forward, to kind of call me out, say, hey, maybe there's a different way of looking at this. So these are some of the things that you could kind of change those stories that we're telling ourselves. Remembering, if I'm saying I'm tired, I can't do this, is just remembering that rest is a vital part of my success. That's part of the wellness. I need to take care of myself to show up, filling your cup up, right, so then you can give to others. I need to do that too. I can't just tell other people to do it. I need to do it as well, and I know the importance of it. And just remembering, I'm learning to prioritize. I'm learning the things with each challenge. I'm learning something from that I can change as I move forward, and really understanding what's most important to me. And that one I think has been a really powerful one. Just kind of letting go of the other things and really focusing on what's important to my business and to me personally. And then, I'm the only one that can do this. I don't know if anyone else has had that thought before with their business, but just remembering, I'm building a success team that shares my vision. So that's your success team is the showing up here with us, every week. It's the MOS group, if that's something that you do. It's the people you're surrounding yourself with who, maybe can take on a task that you don't have time for, or maybe they can do something that you definitely don't enjoy doing. Maybe that saves that time. Maybe it'll cost you a little bit, but in the bigger picture, that time and energy that it takes to do that task you don't want to do, and then you're, outsourcing it, however that looks, is really important. So you're building your team as you kind of catch yourself when you have that thought. I don't know if any of you have any of these stories, that are sayings that you're telling yourself as things get busy, but just remember, change that narrative, change that story, empower yourself to keep moving forward instead of staying in that negative headspace.
Yep. And then I guess the other thing to talk about here, Kylene, oh, here we go. Right, like Barb says, if you want it done right, you have to do it yourself, right? And that, Barb, nobody's going to care about your business as much as you do. That's 100% correct, right? Because it's your business. But I think you're a strong enough leader. I think you're a strong enough person that you can share that vision, and you can teach that, and you can ways that people can do it right without you having to do it yourself. So,
Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, good one.
Yeah.
So the other part of this, Kylene, is this kind of idea of have to versus get to.
Yeah.
I don't have my have to versus get to shirt on today, but it's the get to mindset is so crucial, because when everything is a have to, then it's a grind, then it's a struggle, then it's like, why are we doing it, right? Like, why don't we just go get a job and work for somebody else if I have to do something?
Yep.
And there's nothing wrong with going to get a job and working for somebody else. I'm just saying that as a business owner, you have the opportunities. You get to do this. You've given yourself the right to do this, but you've also given yourself the responsibility to do this. And so, I have to deal with a difficult customer. Okay, true. But you get to serve someone who challenges you to grow. Might be a better way of, we'll role play real quick, Kylene. Okay. Let's say I'm a difficult customer. I'm a difficult husband. Right?
We're role playing?
We're role playing, okay. Kylene. If I was a difficult customer and you're like, oh gosh, I have to talk to Aaron, right? How are you going to show up? How's that conversation going to go from that headspace versus I get to serve somebody who challenges me to grow?
Yep. Well, if you go into it with that difficult customer mentality, you're going to go in it with your guard up. You're not going to be listening. You're already going to have those negative emotions, and that's what's going to come right back to you. And so that difficult customer stays difficult, and it's that much more work for you to get to that positive place versus, if you show up with, I get to learn something, I get to use my skills to really make this difficult customer someone who is, happy with the services that they're receiving, and therefore you go into it calm. You go into it with that attitude of like, I get to serve this person. What are their needs? Why are they frustrated? And really understanding. so then you can get to that solution with them together.
Yeah. So if you guys are listening live or you're catching the replay here, I'd love for you guys to think about something that you have to do in your business, and then give us the reframe on that. How could you reframe that to get to, right? So I'm curious, if you're thinking about that, how does that change your perspective, right? Like, get to share your gifts. Do you get to plan for your success? Do you get to create your dream life? Those types of things, right? Like, from those places, all of the things that we are doing each day become so much more simple, so much less overwhelming, so much less anxiety-inducing, right? So the power of language is unbelievable, right? Like, the world was created through word, right? And so the power of language is so important to us. And I don't think we understand that enough, right? Even the language that we're using in our head, it shapes our perception, it shapes our energy. And so those small shifts in language can really be crucial for us.
Yep.
Now, real quick, practical wise, because we want to bring this up because we know how challenging this holiday season can be time-wise, right? Like we're on the road right now. We've had some car troubles, and so we haven't been able to do the things that we were thinking we were going to do. We're running late, that kind of thing, right? So how do we manage this stuff? Now, last week's program, we actually had some feedback on the poll, and people did want us to talk more about time management. So we're gonna go more in depth into this next week when we're back in studio, and I'll actually have some screen shares, and we'll do all this stuff together. But let me hit you with a couple of quick practical things here real quick. Gamifying is something that we don't think about enough as adults, I would say. At least for me, right? I don't know how. I do have my little water park bracelet on, so I'm,
we did do the water
that does
slide
remind
yesterday.
me. That does remind me, right? But I know some of you guys have games on your phone. I don't know what the popular ones on. I've never been a game on my phone type person, but that doesn't mean that I don't waste plenty of time on my phone. It just I haven't had games on it, right? Like, I don't know. I saw an ad for Candy Crush last night, so that must still be a thing. I know people that used to play Wordle or something like that all the time. So what are the games out there? But why? The reason that we have that, the reason that we do the things that we do in those ways, it is all brain chemistry, right? And so we can use that same brain chemistry to accomplish more and gamify your task list, your get-to list, right? So I use a tool called wheelofnames.com, and again, we'll show it more in depth next week. But it saves me so much energy trying to figure out which project to do next, which thing to tackle next. And then I get this little wheel, it's hey, and then, I get to share social media posts or, I get to, right? Yeah. So there's one way. The other thing that I want to share with you guys is we all need a system. We all need a time management system. And there is no one size fits all. I've tried every single time management system I can think of. Like everyone, I've spent so much money on time management systems. But the creative ones, you guys probably have your own. I've designed my own. And so I want to give you a template that you can start from. But there are some crucial items that all systems need to have, I believe. So let me just hit those really quick, and then I will give you guys this link to go to where you can grab my Canva template and start building your own. So I'm going to put that over here, and we'll do a Control V, and then you can send that in a second. So here's a couple bullet points of things that you want to make sure that you have in your time management system. You've got to be able to focus on the big picture, right? So what's your turning point goal? What's your big goal? Maybe what's your 5-year vision? And then an annual focus, right? Those are, just make sure that you always have a way to kind of like go back, like, what do I really want out of my life? Okay, let me go back to what I've written down, that type of thing. You also need to have a monthly celebration. Kylene and I have talked about that quite a bit on this program, but we'll talk about it more next week. You need to be able to plan your week. Right? We work in weekly cycles. A lot of people are still working for the weekend, even though you're a business owner. I just think you should work for days that end in Y and not have to worry about it, right? So I can do stuff on Saturday, I can do stuff on Monday. It doesn't really matter because I get to do it. Have a daily scorecard, just a way to keep track. Am I drinking enough water? Am I, for me, am I making sure that I'm focused on the right stuff spiritually, that kind of thing. And then it has to have the ability to review and reflect, because we need to be able to make adjustments. And then you have to have some sort of what I would call task management system, right? How do you capture things that you know you need to accomplish, and then make sure that it makes its way onto your system somehow, right? So for me, when I'm making notes, if there's a task, I circle it. Simple as that. And then I can go back through my pages at the end of the week and go, oh, yep, got to get that task on the list, and so it pops back up, right? So if you guys want my Canva template, just go to this link right here, osg.link/ELS, which stands for Empowered Life System, and you can have that completely free. And next week we will go deeper into that, the gamification and time management in general. Okay.
And I will say this Empowered Life System tool, PDF, whatever you want to call it, has been, for me personally, because I was like a post-it note, I still kind of am, but having my stuff all in one piece of paper has been a game changer. So I encourage you to check that out.
All right. And then as we close up here, if you guys, so next week, as we said, we're going to do the time management thing, so that one last week. But put hashtag energy, hashtag MKT, hashtag goal if you want to talk about any of those topics on future shows. Or is there anything else that you guys would like for us to dig into, right? Is something not on that list that you'd like to have there? So again, let us know. You can put a hashtag in there, and even if you're watching the replay, do the hashtag, and we'll be able to keep track of that there. So we'll leave that up there for a little bit while we close this up, Kylene.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys. We're so grateful. Honestly, we're really grateful to have you guys here joining our conversation. We're here every Saturday at noon, and I just, huge thank you to everyone who turned in. You're part of this incredible community, and together we are all building something really powerful and meaningful for ourselves.
Absolutely. Well, small business rock stars out there, it's time to put what you've learned into action. Remember, there is no better time than right now to start. And if you're ready for even more support and connection, you can head over to our Facebook group at osg.link/group. Let's see if I can find that in our banners here. I'm still getting used to this. And so osg.link/group. It's an amazing place to keep that momentum going. And don't forget, a rising tide lifts all boats. We're here to lift each other up every single week.
Yes, and lasting change comes from positive energy. So remember, gratitude is your superpower. Embrace it, and let's keep building amazing things together. We'll see you guys next week.
All right, everybody. Have a great week.
Dark days, overwhelmed, trapped in a maze. Small business owner, stress had me in a daze. Every problem piled up, couldn't catch a break. Thought I couldn't make it, my dreams were at stake. But then I found a group that changed my whole perspective. Our success group of a community so effective. We all chasing that dream, sharing struggles and fears. They understood my journey, wiped away my tears. Together we broke through, we